Assalamualaikum and good day to Dr. Sawani and my fellow friends. My name is Syami Zarfi bin Shahriza, method number 825772. Today present about the packaging which is focus on container. So this is my table of content which consists of two parts. The first one is introduction and the second one is the ocean cargo. So for introduction, the definition of packaging is the technology of enclosing or protecting products for distribution, storage, sale and use. Also, packaging refers to the process of design, evaluation and production of packages. There are three functions of packaging which protect the goods from hazards of international shipping by ocean or by air, and it also facilitates the handling of goods while they are in transit, and is part of the customer service strategy of the firms. So the objective of packaging is it protects the good from mechanical damage, water damage, theft, and also the pilferage. So for the container, definition of container is it a simple instrument consisting of any device creating a partially or fully enclosed space that can be used to contain, store, and transport objects or materials. So it's about the ocean cargo, which the first one is about a full container load, FCL cargo. So the choice of the proper container is important when shipping a FCL shipment. An FCL shipment utilizes the entire capacity of a container, whether by weight or by volume. So before the FCL cargo is shipped to its destination, the exporter must know what type of seagoing container they want to use. So there are 8 types of container. So after the exporter choose the type of seagoing container, they need to do inspection. Inspection must be in the cargo and outside of the cargo. The inspection is important because if it's not inspected, maybe possibility of leakage, which will indicate water diffusion risk during shipment. And also, before we ship, the container must be clean of grease, that other foreign material. So after the choice of container is done, we must take consideration about the palletization. So it's better for goods in a shipment to be unitized so that they can be handled more efficiently by using forklift or other means of material handling. So to do that, we must placing the goods on pallets or by building boxes in which they are placed. So the goods that placed on pallets and shrink wrap protects from water infiltration and from condensation in the container. And also with the palletization, it facilitates the handling and protect the goods once they have arrived at the customer warehouse. So unitizing prevent the primary leakage from being crushed and allow goods to be immediately sellable. After that, the next procedure is about non-unitized cargo. If the goods inside the container are not unitized, it is preferable that they are somewhat protected from crushing and moisture by being packed in higher grade of corrugated paperboard, double or triple weight. Regular secondary packaging is generally insufficient and use should be avoided. So if the goods are to be stacked, layer of strong corrugated paperboard or sheets of plywood should be in between the layers to protect the lower levels from collapsing and prevent crush boxes. And other than that, if the goods are to be shipped from all to high humidity area, a layer of plywood on the floor of the container or a layer of pallet should be considered. So the next procedure is about the blocking materials. Blocking material, also called dunnage, have been developed. So to placing the blocking material, first method is to secure the goods to the container. This be done with hooks and straps or wood braces. Second, insert some sort of spacer in between the pallets or the packages. Before closing the door of the container, similar bracing material must be inserted between the cargo and the door to prevent shifting. So we must take consideration that insurance policies do not cover claim for improperly packaged cargo. So this procedure must be taken importantly to avoid some defect or damage of the cargo. So after all the procedures been taken, it's time for the exporter to loading the goods to the container. So when there are different type of goods to be placed in the same container, the heavier one should be always placed in the bottom to lower center of gravity of the load, and great care should be taken to make sure that the center of gravity is somewhat the center of container. This is important to achieve and making sure that the goods are loaded in symmetrical fashion in the container and that the blocking material is placed between the goods. Thank you. That's all for me.
Okay, my name is Nur Farhan Nabila binti Zamzuri and my matric number 826298, and today I want to present about less than container load LCL cargo. Okay, LCL cargo is a term used to describe the transportation of small ocean freight shipment, not requiring the full capacity of an ocean container. And LCL cargo usually less than 20 cbm means cubic meters, and a freight forwarder may create a consolidation by putting together multiple LCL shipment. Okay, for the next is breakbulk cargo. Breakbulk cargo cannot be containerized because it is too large and won't fit in a traditional container. Breakbulk cargo also exceeds the maximum weight of a container load. And then breakbulk cargo placed directly in the hull of the ship, and therefore has to be packaged differently than containerized cargo. And next, breakbulk cargo in its tertiary packaging means it's handled more frequently than containerized cargo. Okay, for the example, it is loaded onto a truck or a rail car on its way to the port, and then unloaded in the port and loaded onto the ship, unloaded from the ship, and so on. And the breakbulk cargo also should be packed in such a way to be well protected. And breakbulk cargo should ensure that the weight of dimension of the cargo can be handled by all the facilities through which the cargo will travel. If the breakbulk cargo weight more than the maximum capacity crane in a given port, an alternative route should be found. Okay, or arrangement should be made to run specialized on larger equipment. Okay, for the crates and box, the crate or box should be built in a size that accommodates the good without allowing them to shift. And then, if the cargo needs to be kept in an upright position, the best alternative is to mount the box or crate on a pallet, or to equip it right hooks or straps. Allow the goods to be handled in only the one direction. And box and crates are built somewhat differently lah. And next, box and enclosed crate protecting shipment that are sensitive to water or moisturized should be lined with a waterproof material. And next, to further protect crate, machinery and metallic parts from water damage. Okay, the next is bags. Bags also can be used to transport bulk merchandise, and the bag is made up of several layers of craft paper and also of or from the light polymer. And the bag contains that may be damaged during an international shipment, and shipping bags are quite sensitive to raw handling by dog hands. And the next type is bag is a very large bag called a flexible intermediate bulk container, or FIBC. FIBCs are constructed of woven polymer fiber. Okay, the next is drums. Drums are used in three forms: one is metallic drums, and second metallic drum or steel drums, and then polymer drum and fiber drums. Okay, for the steel drums, can be used for the wet and dry cargo and are pretty resilient container that can withstand a good amount of abuse, and this is great resistant to water damage and pilferage, and have been used for a long time in ocean shipping. And their main disadvantage is their cost and their individual weight. Okay, for the polymer drums, the advantage of being able to carry liquid and also wet cargo, but they are much less resistant to route handling, and they also should be pelletized to minimize damage. And finally is the fiber drum. Fiber drum just can be used for the only dry cargo, and fiber drums are slightly more resistant to water damage and than bags, okay, and more resistant to pilferage. And fiber drum are also somewhat sensitive to mechanical damage, such as that caused by careless forklift truck drivers or sharp corner. Okay, for the next is wood requirement. Okay, all woods product used in international trade must be marked with the International Plant Protection Convention or IPPC with symbol or face heavy fine. Okay, the IPPC mark also identifies the country in which the wood product was traded with the first two letters, and the marking also identify the plant at which the process was conducted with an alphanumeric code. Okay. And then any wood product has been marked with the IPPC symbol can be reused indefinitely in the international supply chain. For the next is marking. There are two reasons to properly mark the cargo as it's shipped. First is it has to be protected from the poor handling, and it has to be protected from the tip and pilferage. And to protect the cargo from the poor handling, it is necessary to use as many of the international pictures for cargo handling are relevant lah. And the outside dimension of the good should also be clearly displayed both in English and metric unit. This is because to prevent as much as possible inappropriate equipment from handling the goods at any point, and also to protect breakbulk or LCR cargo from being lost or shipped to the wrong consignee. So it should be clearly marked with the consignee name, the name of the company that will pick up at the port of the destination, and as well as the shipment number. It is always a good idea to write the information of several of the site in the load. Okay, that's way the information that is never hidden view. Okay, the next is useful practice, because it is to mark all the unit in a given shipment with a particular color. For the example, one of the corner of the box so that they are clearly designated as part of the one shipment, and so that none of them are left behind. And the temptation to use a color associated with a particular company should be avoided. This is to prevent jeopardizing the firm's security effort. For the same reason, the color should be changed regularly, and there are a number of alternative means to determine whether a shipment has been the victim of thief. And also some shipper paint the outside of their shipment with a uniform color in order to determine whether a shipment has been tampered with. Some use shipping tape of a specific design and use a shrink wrap. And finally, it should be reiterated the marking that reveal the identity of the shipper, and content of the package should be avoided at all costs. And also many companies use codes rather than brand marking to identify their shipment. Okay, from the air transport, there is containers that use in air transport, and are much different than the ocean cargo. Okay, they cannot be used conveniently in other mode of transportation. Next, it also handling should be taken into consideration when packaging good for export by air. And container used in transport are lightweight, made of wood, plexiglass or aluminium, and are generally clean. And some container are not fully enclosed or are enclosed with netting rather than solid walls. Some damage may occur in the voyage when cargo shift, and most damage occur in the handling before and after the flight. For example, is why the container waits on the tarmacs. The good in the container should easily become wet from rain or snow, and such exposure should be considered when deciding a proper package. Okay, for the next is packaging material. Why most air cargo to be shipped by air in its secondary packaging? The secondary packaging is not sufficient to protect the goods from the hazard of manipulation before and after the flight. And secondary packaging often include marking including the brand name of the goods as well as model number and illustration, which make them a very tempting target for thief. For shipment that are fragile, the best strategy is to use a box within a box. The primary package is placed in a much larger box and then filled with packing material around the smaller fragile product. And airlines charge a shipper on the hire of two alternatives. The first alternative is from the actual weight of the product, and the second alternative or maybe it's from the aspect of volume weight. And then from the cargo sensitive to humidity, a possible way of avoiding condensation damage is to add small packet of this desiccated material in the box with the goods. Okay, and then to protect against other condensation, rain or leakage caused by other cargo on the same plane. And the first shipment for the primary packaging breaks such as glass or plastic bottles. Okay, the US Federal Aviation Administration regulations require that the secondary or tertiary package be capable of containing an accidental leak, and the most secondary packaging is not designed for such a contingency. Okay, for the next is marking. The marking in international air shipment should be handled in much the same way as marking the ocean shipment. Okay, for the next is road and rail transport. Okay, a policy of protecting the cargo in much the same way as for the shipment by ocean container. This is because to unitize the cargo into pallets. So the to facilitate handling at the point where the goods are loaded and unloaded. And the cargo pallet also should be protected on all four corners, banded with nylon or steel strap and shrink wrapped for protection against rain and also ambient humidity. Okay, the railroad companies issue is very specific rule regarding the bracing of cargo in container or truck trailer. That means that will be carried on railroad. So the very strong bracing of the cargo. This is because to prevent stress against the container or travel doors. And for the domestic shipment in the United States are almost all by truck or rail, and the cargo is loaded onto a trailer that is the either driven to its destination or loaded on a railroad car. Means that we call piggyback. Okay, to an intermediary destination and then driven to its the final destination. The primary cause of the decrease was attributed to improvement in packaging, and also the cargo should be sensitive to thief. It should also be packed in unmarked box to prevent the possibility to pilferage.
Today, me, Fatina Azmira binti Abdul Hadi, entry number 825984, will present about our another type of cargo in our topic, which is dangerous goods. Generally, dangerous goods are commodities that possess potentially dangerous characteristics. Often, it is subject to chemical regulation, which includes materials that are biohazardous, flammable, radioactive, or even they may have another characteristic that render them to be as hazardous in certain circumstances. There are few international organizations that involve in dangerous goods regulation. For example, United Nations, second, International Civil Aviation, ICAO, and also International Maritime Organization, IMO. As you can see in this slide, there are 9 classes of dangerous goods. All classes from class 1 to class 9, it is not representing how dangerous the dangerous goods are. Class 1, explosive. It has items that usually not shipped by air because of their characteristic, which is explosive. Okay, explosive are characterized as dangerous goods because they are capable of producing hazardous amounts of heat, light, sound, gas, or even smoke. Next is class 2, gases. It also includes gases such as dissolved gases, refrigerated liquefied gases, and also aerosol. Class 3, flammable liquids. It comprises liquids or also mixtures of liquids that will give some vapors at specific temperature. They are actually included in 3 types of packaging groups. Next is class 4. Class 4 is for solids that are flammable. That could include highly flammable solid, the solid that are likely to spontaneously, and also substances that when they come to the contact with water, it can produce flammable gases. Next is class 5, oxidizing substances and organic peroxide. Okay, for these classes, both substances which can yield oxygen are classified as dangerous goods because so they are not necessarily combustible in their own self, but they can contribute in the combustion of other hazardous substances. Class 6, toxic and also infectious substances. Okay, as you can see on the slide, it can be divided into 2 subdivisions, which is 6.1 and 6.2. For 6.1, this is a toxic substances, the liquids or the solids which are dangerous if inhaled, swallowed, or absorbed through the skin. For example, potassium cyanide. Okay, 6.2 is for biohazardous substances that can be divided into 2 categories, which is category A, the infectious. For example, the virus and the bacteria. While category B is for the samples. Right now, as we know, we have COVID-19, right? So, all the people who have done their tests, their samples will be included as category B in 6.2. That is class 7, radioactive materials. Radioactive materials, they are defined as any substances which contain atoms that are subject to radioactive decay. Next is class 8, corrosive. It comprises the corrosive liquids and also solid that will cause severe damage when they are in contact with living tissue, or in case of the leakage, it could damage other cracks because their chemically reaction can degrade or disintegrate other materials when they have contact. For corrosive, they can also divide into two categories, which is 8.1 for acid and also 8.2 alkali. And the last classes, which is class 9, they will contribute about the miscellaneous dangerous goods. If there are any substances other than the other 8 classes that can represent danger during transportation, during contact with people and others. As we can see, all classes of dangerous goods is different. So for every classes, they have their specific marking, labeling for the cargo. So their packaging also are different.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurul Farhana binti Kamal Azman. My matric number 826455. Okay, next I present for type of packaging of dangerous good. Packaging of carriers which involve for dangerous good, which is a pipeline, a bulk transport vehicle, which consists of road tanker and tank container, which can compact for the bulk containment system, and have a large packages which is 400 to 50 liters upwards, or about 3 meter cubic in volume, and also it have an intermediate bulk container which can compact for 3000 liters, and special handling equipment for these dangerous goods. So as we know that this container consists of pressure receptacles and similar, which consists of small and large volume. So it consists of limited quantity LQ package carrying, which permitted for a limited amount, just for a limited outer packaging. And lastly is accepted quantity package carrying, which have permitted for the small amounts in receptacles and intermediate package within the outer package. Because we know that dangerous goods have harmful when we're not handling with care, so we need to undergo the packaging very specific and it also have a de minimis equi packaging carrying, which is extremely small amounts in receptacle and intermediate package within an outer package. So for this dangerous good, they consist of United Nations package, which is known as UN package, which this package have details and subjected to the design to the test, usually which consist by the third party that can prove that they are suitability to carry this dangerous good, which suitable for the package and the dangerous good. They are consist of 3 types of group UN packing. Firstly is packing group 1, which is high danger, and second is medium danger, and third one is low danger. But there are some of exception for this classes for this group, which is for class 2 division 6.2 and class 7. This is not suitable for this UN packing group. They consist of other type of packaging. This UN packing group is important because we need to know how to handle and type of dangerous good that consists in this packaging. So there is consists of some codes that been used for all for whole world to understand how to handle it, which is UN represent for UN packing symbol. 4G is present for packaging identification code, which is consists of type and material that in this packaging. X it is represent X for packing groups 1, 2, and 3, Y for packing group 2 and 3, and Z for packing group 3 only. So the 8 is mean of mass gross mass in kg. Next is S. S is the type of the cargo, which is mean S is solid, L for liquid, and G for gas. They consist of 3 types of dangerous goods. So and 05 is 5 years of manufacture. So how long the dangerous good being produced, which consists how long the term for the use of this dangerous good. And USA is which country been approval for these materials, such as USA mean the USA being approval for this substance. If you other country like Malaysia, maybe MY for Malaysia. So M4166 is manufacturer identification or other identification. So this represent for the manufacturer number for this substance being produced. There are these a few examples for type of UN package for the some substances that been told before. Firstly, it's been known as a single package, which is usually for drums that used for the liquid. As we know that from the drums, we can see that sealing tab, bung washer, labeling, flash washer, and flager is the way how to close the drums to avoid the liquid being sprayed out, or maybe when we handle it may be leakage or from the drums, because this dangerous good can give harmful to the person or the equipment that been used. So this is the closure, gasket, and container are packaging which suitable for some of the materials. Secondly is combination package, which is top pads, caps, tubes, bottom pads, fiberboard, box, and closure type are packaging, which this suitable for this type of packaging that can be packed into one box, fiber box that can make the cargo is safe to transport from one country to another. And thirdly is UN PK covered by certificate. This is suitable for intended for transport, which have a closure polypropylene type R3B, which have a suitable glass bottle design for 1,234 weight for 79 grams for the maybe it's for medical or substance for toxics that can be used in the bottles, and then it will insert star in your Fresco Assisco, then it will occupied in the fiber box, which is shipping case style that have a UN mark allocated for complete assembly. So this way, when the UN package has prepared for transport, then it be transferred from warehouse to the ship. And lastly is non-complying package, which is externally visually identical and carrying UN mark. This means that HDPE cap and triple can, which have a loose fill packing that can be fit in the flaps hot melt close, which is suitable for the high pressure packaging, and that can be transferred from from cold to hot country, so it can be safe to be transported. Okay, that's all from us. Thank you.